Breaking news coming out today, July 15th, 2025, as we're hearing that the Social Security COLA, or cost of living adjustment, for 2026 has just increased. So if you collect retirement, SSI, SSDI, any of the fixed incomes coming in from the Social Security Administration, take a look at the latest headlines with me so you can see it for yourself. Coming out today, 2026 COLA projections increasing with the latest inflation trends. Here's another one. Inflation picks up again in June, rising at 2.7 annual rate. And what we're hearing is, you can see this coming out 4 hours ago, things are starting to pick up with inflation. Here's another one. Trump's trade war begins to show up in inflation data. This coming out 3 hours ago. And we're going to get into the details of this, as Social Security's 2026 COLA could be the worst in years, they're saying. Still low, but millions of retirees will get a big financial boost anyways. You can see this article coming out today as well, a lot surfacing on Social Security. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest so that way you know exactly what is going on, as we're starting to get some of these projections coming in as to what seniors, those collecting retirement, SSI, SSDI, will get in the form of that annual increase for Social Security. Now, in addition to that, that big, beautiful bill, we're going to be covering this in detail, also is going to be giving a boost to Social Security beneficiaries, as well as they're saying now about 90% of individuals that collect those benefits will not have to pay taxes as a result of the provision that was included in that legislation. But I'm going to give you the latest updates as more projections are coming in, and they're saying things are starting to trend up in inflation, which is going to equate to a bigger increase in that cost of living adjustment for Social Security. So we're going to dive right in, and if you appreciate the updates, do me a favor before we get to it, go ahead and hit that like button for me. If you appreciate the breaking news updates, this is the latest coming out today, July 15th. Just taking a second to click that thumbs up helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. In addition to that, if you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. I'll let you know everything going on with Social Security legislation, global conflicts, things that will affect you and your family, so you know exactly what's going on. And to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not hit that subscribe button? And also, I cite all the sources, so you can click the links down below, read these articles for yourself, see the dates, see the sources, and know or rest assured that this is the latest. Now, in addition to that, if you or somebody you love is on Medicare, this is really important, what I want to share with you. On May 1st, the Department of Justice filed a massive fraud complaint against 3 of the largest Medicare brokers in the country. Now, according to the DOJ, these brokers have misled seniors, claiming to offer unbiased help while secretly steering them to insurance plans that pay the highest kickbacks for them, not the best plans for you. So if you have been feeling like, maybe I'm getting gypped on my Medicare, trust your gut. You need to go ahead and look into this. This is not the right plan for a lot of the individuals that they thought and trusted, just the most profitable ones for those companies. It's infuriating, but sadly it's not surprising, and that's why today I want to introduce you guys to Chapter. Chapter is different. It's a company I've been working with. Their founders, their parents were scammed, and now they have vowed that they're going to fix the Medicare system. They are fully independent, and they're the only national advisors that search every Medicare plan available to find the one that actually fits your needs. They advocate for you, not for these insurance companies. There's no steering, there's no pressure, just ethical, honest help at no cost to you. So if you want help with your Medicare, give Chapter a call today. You can see the phone number on the screen, 984-375-0879. You will speak to a real person that's going to help you figure out exactly the plan that's right for you. Chapter has saved the average senior that calls in $1,100 a year. They actually helped one of my subscribers save over $1,600. There have been hundreds of people already on my channel that have told me they have been helped by Chapter. It has been incredible. They are a free resource to you as well. That's right. You call in, you get information. It is totally free. So I'm going to have this pasted down below for you. Also put it on the screen. Call Chapter today. I hope they are a blessing to you. Wanted to mention that for those that are interested in getting help with their Medicare, and you can see it right here on the screen as well. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the 2026 COLA projections, increasing with the latest trends so you can see it for yourself. And again, do me a favor before we dive in, if you haven't done so yet, hit that like button, subscribe to stay up to date. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Now, the latest inflation data reflects June 2025 prices. The Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, or the CPIU, increased by 0.3% in June after rising 0.1% in May. The index for all items less food and energy rose 0.2% in June, following a 0.1% increase in May. This index, excluding food and energy, is considered a better predictor of inflation because it is less volatile in the short term. Now, this increase in inflation may be the result of tariffs imposed by the United States on various countries, which could cause inflation to jump. That has not happened, but the latest data, they are an increase, and it could influence the Federal Reserve on a decision not to lower interest rates in the near future. CPIW changes in June of 2025. The Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers that is used for the annual COLA calculation increased to 2.6% over the last 12 months to an index level of 315.945. For the month, the index increased by 0.4%. Let me know your thoughts. Are you glad to see these increases? If so, put yes. If no, put no. It's kind of a mixed bag here, because increased inflation means that prices are going up, yet at the same time it means more of an increase for seniors at the end of the year. Yet if the prices don't go up, that means that things are more affordable, but not as big of an increase for seniors. Let me know. Are you glad to see this information coming out? Yes or no? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, the CPIW figure for June of 2025 released today was 315.945. That is a 2.3% higher than the average CPIW for the third quarter in 2024. So it is increasing. The COLA for the coming year is calculated by comparing the change in the CPIW from year to year, based on the average of the third quarter months of July, August, and September. So we are beginning to enter into this third quarter data reading that is going to be determining how big those increases are for 2026, and it looks like things are starting to pick up now as of this latest reading. Now, last month, the monthly data were 1.98% higher than the average CPIW for the third quarter of 2024, compared to the latest 2.3% figure. So the June monthly data that were just released today will be pushing up COLA for 2026. So that COLA is increasing. Tariffs, inflation, and COLA projections. 2025 has been a volatile year, marked by sharp spikes and drops in the stock market, as well as changes announced by the administration regarding economic policies, which have been impacted by tariffs imposed by the U.S. and on other countries. However, these events impacted the 2026 COLA projection, how have these events impacted the 2026 COLA projections? Probably not as much as some might expect. President Trump often makes policy announcements that are subject to change. It is a tactic that has served him well over time, and it makes headlines. He is not likely to change during the remainder of his term. David Kelly, chief global strategist at JP Morgan Asset Management, summarizes what has happened with inflation and the economy so far in 2025. The new administration has implemented radical policy changes that should, at least in theory, have boosted inflation and slowed growth. And yet, almost 6 months after Inauguration Day, both unemployment and inflation are virtually unchanged from the start of the year, while U.S. stocks and bonds have generated healthy year-to-date returns. And let me know, are you glad with how things are going currently with President Donald Trump, Social Security, the economy, and how he's handling global policies, conflicts? If so, drop a 47 in the comments for support for Donald Trump. Now, reading on 2026 COLA projections, how estimates have changed. Several analyst groups, including the Senior Citizens League and independent policy experts, currently project a 2.5% increase for 2026's cost of living adjustment. The projections have steadily risen month by month as new inflation data became available. For example, in March, TSCL forecasted 2.3%, then they revised it to 2.4 in May and 2.5 in June, and we're hearing that it is steadily increasing. So we might see an increase in what they have been saying. We will see. I'll keep you up to date as we enter the third quarter. Now, based on the latest inflation data, the next projection is likely to increase yet again. For 2025, the COLA was 2.5%. This means a probable increase will be awarded in 2026 for a higher COLA than the final 2025 figure. Federal and military retirees can generally expect their COLA increases to match the Social Security adjustment for those under the Civil Service Retirement System and for those under the Federal Employees Retirement System, to often be slightly less, typically 1% below the full COLA for the CSRS recipients, depending on the amount of the CPI increase. So, why have 2026 COLA projections changed? The primary reason for the change in 2026 COLA projections is the change in inflation based on the data from the last month. We are seeing inflation increase. Inflation data for the next annual COLA are tracked by the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. As inflation has edged up slightly in early 2025, the projections were adjusted upwards. A recent decision by the Bureau of Labor Statistics to reduce its data sample collection may affect inflation reporting. Some experts have expressed a concern that this could lead to less accurate inflation numbers, potentially resulting in a smaller COLA for Social Security beneficiaries and leaving them with less buying power. The BLS stopped collecting data from 3 cities in the second quarter: Lincoln, Nebraska, Provo, Utah, and Buffalo, New York, due to staffing shortages that has resulted partly because of the current hiring freeze. The Federal Reserve's interest rate decisions may have played a role in keeping inflation from spiking or falling, but some significant costs, including housing, healthcare, and food, remain elevated, and this is reflected in the CPIW data. Uncertainty about the United States policy regarding tariffs may be a part of President Donald Trump's strategy for reducing the debt and equalizing the trade costs with foreign countries. So far, the policy appears to have had some success. The uncertainty surrounding the tariffs imposed in mid-2025 also created concerns about possible higher consumer prices later in the year. The analysts have continued to monitor for inflation spikes that could affect the final COLA. So they're projecting that this potentially will be increasing. And again, are you glad to hear this? That this could mean a bigger cost of living adjustment, but higher prices? If so, put yes. If no, put no. The final COLA for 2026 will be based on the CPIW data from the third quarter of the last year. Projections made throughout the year reveal trends in inflation and COLA for the next year, but the final calculation for 2026 does not occur until mid-October. So we are just starting to enter into the data that we need to discover what this is going to be like. And what we're hearing is, take a look at the headlines coming out today. This is the latest breaking news as of July 15th. Inflation is picking up. It is rising, and they're saying this is going to equate to a higher cost of living adjustment for seniors and those that collect SSI, SSDI, any of the fixed income benefits from the Social Security Administration. And they are saying Trump's trade war is beginning to show in the inflation data. Now, take a look at this article coming out from the Motley Fool. This coming out today as well. And they're saying that this cost of living increase, it is still too small. It is still not going to be enough. Let me know, do you agree? Do you think that there needs to be a bigger increase for Social Security? If yes, put yes. If no, put no. But take a look at this. They're saying it is still too small, but there still is a financial boost coming on the way. And spoiler alert, it is because of that big, beautiful bill. Let's go ahead and take a look. More updates regarding your Social Security. Each year, millions of retirees wait anxiously for the Social Security Administration to announce the new annual cost of living adjustment, or the COLA. COLA determines how much Social Security benefits will increase the following year and help retirees, many of whom rely on Social Security for all or a significant part of their income budget for the following year. Now, while it's still months before the 2026 COLA is announced, recent data suggests that retirees, they could be looking at one of the lowest COLAs in years. However, millions of retirees will get a big financial boost anyways. And also, we're hearing, as of the reports coming out today, that small amount is starting to increase because of inflation. Recent inflation data coming out is soft. The COLA is always determined based on inflation data from the third quarter of each year, unlike the broader market, which relies heavily on each month, the Consumer Price Index for urban wage consumers. Now, the SSA relies on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, or the CPIW. While the CPI measures the change in prices for 93% of the U.S. population, the CPIW only covers about 29% of the population and measures expenses more common to blue-collar workforce. Now, to calculate the following year's COLAs, the SSA looks at the year-over-year percentage change for the average CPIW. And it happens for the third quarter, which is July, August, and September. Here are the latest four COLAs. 2022, we saw 5.9%. 2023, we saw that record-breaking 8.7%, one of the highest COLAs we have ever seen. 2024, 3.2%. 2025, 2.5%. And we're hearing, as of today, it might be increasing for 2026 past 2.5. Now, in recent months, data has pointed to slowing inflation. That has changed. The monthly year-over-year change in the CPI has gone from 2.97 in January to 2.17 in May. Now, there's still time before the data actually counts towards the COLA and it comes into play. And factors like the tariffs have the potential to make inflation change course. But if the CPIW stays on its current trajectory, retirees could be looking at one of the worst COLAs in the last 5 years. COLAs are a bit of a double-edged sword because retirees also benefit from cheaper cost of living. But many argue that COLAs have not been able to keep up with the pace of inflation since the turn of the century. And I know a lot of people would agree with that the COLAs that come out, it is simply not enough, that they need to have an increase. And that is why there have been calls for just an across-the-board increase of a set amount. We had heard this suggested by the Biden administration of $200 per month across the board, yet we never saw that come to fruition. Let me know your thoughts. If you'd like to see a $200 per month increase, drop 200 in the comments. If you think no, put 0, or just put the amount that you think that the increase should be. Now, even with a low COLA, millions are still going to be getting a boost next year, and here's why. Recently, another factor will come into play that's going to help people who are at least 65 years old. President Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, a large budget reconciliation package. The primary goal of the legislation is to pass trillions in tax cuts and allocate funds for border security, but such a large bill includes many other provisions as well, and one of those is impacting Social Security. Now, the big one for retirees is $6,000 additional senior tax deduction, or $12,000 for joint filers. To be clear, this is not aimed specifically at retirees collecting Social Security, but anyone who is 65 or older, regardless of whether or not they receive Social Security benefits. To be eligible for the full deduction, single filers can make no more than $75,000, while joint filers can make no more than $150,000. The deduction completely phases out at $175,000 for single filers, $250,000 for joint filers. Now, according to an analysis conducted by the White House's Council of Economic Advisors, the bonus deduction stands to benefit millions of Americans who receive Social Security benefits and pay taxes on them. Citing U.S. Treasury data, the council found there were 58.5 million people aged 65 and over receiving Social Security benefits in 2024. Of this group, 37.4 million received exemptions and deductions that exceeded their taxable Social Security income. With the new bonus deduction, this number will jump by over 14 million to 51.4 million, representing 88% of beneficiaries who are 65 or older and receiving Social Security. The deduction is temporary. It will go into effect next year for the 2025 tax bill and last through the 2028 year's taxes. The tax saving for a married couple with $100,000 of income could be roughly $1,600 per year, according to the Wall Street Journal. The average monthly benefit of a retired worker in May was $2,002, or about $24,024 a year, assuming both people in a marriage receive that benefit. For a total of $48,048, the savings will amount to roughly 3.3% of a married couple's combined average benefits. That is equal to the average COLA since 1975 and above the average of 2.6% COLA since the turn of the century. Remember, these savings are in addition to the 2026 COLA, whatever it ends up being. So this is good news for Social Security. The big, beautiful bill is helping people be able to save. They said on average, I forgot what the number was. I saw just $1,600 per year. Now, the $23,760 Social Security bonus, most retirees completely overlook. And they're going to be getting into some other items here, but it's not involving the big, beautiful bill. But that is for everybody. They're saying about 90% of those that collect Social Security will be completely tax-free now as a result of that big, beautiful bill. And again, if you're glad for that, you appreciate what is going on here with this legislation helping out seniors, don't forget, drop a 47 in the comments. And if you appreciate the updates, as we are hearing that this COLA announcement, it has come out today, and they're saying that things are looking to increase higher than we had anticipated for that 2026 COLA. Do me a favor, hit that like button if you appreciate these live updates. Let's take a look. Coming out today, 2026 COLA projections increasing with the latest inflation trends. Inflation picks up again in June, rising to 2.7% annual rate. Trump's trade war begins to show up in the inflation data. Social Security 2026, they're saying it could be the worst in years. Well, now that's all changing. And they're also saying, don't forget though, in addition to the COLA, the big, beautiful bill is offering major incentives for seniors as well. So, man, there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. I'm seeing those 47s starting to pour in. Now, we're also going to be seeing what other pieces of legislation come in for Social Security. Social Security needs major reform. We don't see major changes to the entire Social Security system soon. There is potential for cuts because the trust funds are running dry over time. In fact, they're saying this new provision that's going to help put more money into the pockets of seniors is going to speed up the solvency issue that we currently have. So eventually the trust fund is going to run out. And when that happens, there will not be enough money to pay out the full benefits to all people collecting Social Security. So something has got to change, and soon. So there is a lot of legislation right now out proposing various changes to Social Security. Now, whatever comes out, I'll be sure to let you know here on the channel. I will also keep you up to speed on that cost of living adjustment. I'll keep you up to speed on any potential increases that are proposed, changes to taxation, to the CPIW, to the CPIE, to the things that they use to try to figure out how to provide those increases. I'll keep you up to speed on everything going on. And also, whatever happened with DOGE and Social Security Administration's cuts, if more stuff comes up, I'll let you know here on the channel. But that is the latest, you guys. And I am seeing those 47s pouring in. I'm also seeing Deborah Penny putting $200 per month increases is needed. TMC is saying the same thing. I see somebody else saying, I'm getting squat. I need way more increases. Let me know if you agree in the comments. But I'll keep you up to speed on everything. That is the latest on Social Security. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll keep you up to speed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.